truly amazing.
It was day one, wasn't it?
The first time Craig McRae joins us, and it's a joy, and thank you so much in everything going on in your life. Thanks for finding a couple of minutes to come in here today. And congratulations on behalf of everyone here.
Yes.
Not only the footy, but particularly, the expanding of your family. It's a beautiful thing. What a day. But that audio grab was from the first chat we had, March the 10th, 2022.
Wow.
And the 2 or 3 hit points that were in that have been 100% consistent with you every time we've sat down with you, and whatever the other extenuating circumstances might be, those are three or four things have run through just about every chat we've ever had.
Yeah, the first thing I'd come to mind was how young I sounded. I've aged a bit in the last period, but no, it's remarkable couple of years for the footy club and everyone involved in it, and the growth of individuals and the club itself and the bonding and then just come together on Saturday afternoon as one of the most special days ever.
But it's not just if you think how can this get any better? And you're trying to think of hypotheticals, which Andy were banging on about hypothetical trades and all this sort of rubbish we're talking about. But if someone had said to you, you're going to have your child born on the same day and then have to then play in a grand final or be a part of a grand final, then actually win it. I mean, it's stuff that you can't even think you can't even dream up.
No, and we knew all along that the due date was grand final day, but deliberately not telling anyone that because there were so many moons had to align to get to that day. Not only being born on the same day, but also the qualifying for the finals and all these things. And won't worry about it. Got to the prelim final. I said, we're in a grand final. We probably should start talking about this. But still, I just didn't want to deal with it. I'm going but my wife's been unbelievable. She's quite a special woman.
And Maggie's a beautiful name.
It is a beautiful name.
It's a beautiful Maggie.
I've got to set the record straight because in my madness, I don't know, the euphoria, I've said a lot of stupid things the last 48 hours and longer. But I went to the game, said, "Oh, look, I won't say anything to anyone. We'll keep it quiet." And I saw someone, I announced it, whispered, and then I saw someone else and whispered it, and then I saw the players, and I just told the playing group, I said, "That'll do." And then you saw what happened after the game. And my wife.
So just on that.
What was it like when you think, well, you want to share this information because you're so pumped up about it? Yeah. What was it like when you told the players?
I thought I'd be really emotional. I really did, and I had the plan prior to little Maggie being born was on my shirt, the 44 sons, which I hadn't revealed before, as a legacy thing, because we spoke about legacy all year, and I thought, I might get a bit emotional about this, and I was worried about where my feelings would go. I didn't want to be emotional. I wanted to be joyful, and anyway, in my madness of trying to get it out, I actually said, and boys, I've got 44 sons on my shirt, and today's already the best day of my life because we've had a son. We had a girl. That's how crazy it was. And the players are going erupting, and you've seen the footage of it. They're going, yes. And then I had to stop, and I put a picture up, and it says Maggie, and they're going, that's a strange boy's name.
That is great. Were you just not thinking straight?
No, I was all over the place. I was just in such joy. And I said last night, if you're living your life in love and joy,
yes.
That mindset, you could. I was saying to you before, you could push me in traffic, and you could run into my car. That's okay. It's just a little scratch or whatever. When you're in that space, it doesn't matter what else is happening. I came to the footy in that mindset, and without anxiety, without stress, and I recommend any coach have a baby grand final day.
So it took away any element of fear of failure. The fear of failure goes.
I must admit, I don't live in that space ever.
Right.
I haven't yet in those 51 games, or even prior to that. It's not something that I tend to do. I don't know how that's come about in my life, but I don't live in that space. I'm optimistic, but this is a level of mindset that I've never ever lived, particularly for a game.
So you've spoken about the medal being yours, but it should be shared amongst your cohort, and extended that into the executive at the club and the staff at the club, and that's been constant and with you the whole time since you've taken the job. But one thing you do have to do, I imagine, as the man, is to set the markers. You are the public face of the joint. When you talk of love and joy, when you look at those blokes, the Julie McCreary moment, when you look at those blokes and you are having something reflected back at you, is that you still want to win other games of footy, but if you tick that box, do you get back from this group what you put into them?
Well, I say to the players all the time that, and you've heard me say the moment of time stuff, like this is a moment in time that I'm a coach, but I'm going to be a father for the rest of my life. And I want these players to be great parents, great fathers, great husbands, and great people in society. And I don't shy away from that. And we're not going to get it right all the time, but that gives me great satisfaction. But I will say this cup that's sitting next to me, I have managed to capture it for a couple of days, and no one said anything, and it's been right by my side. When you take this out in the world, the joy and the smiles it brings, this is a special thing. And you saw it.
You had a couple of American basketballers who couldn't wait to get their photo taken with you.
Yeah, so because this represents the footy club.
Yeah.
And this represents all the people that helped get it there, the fans. And
has that surprised you? You won it 3 times as a player, but has it surprised you now that you are more intimately connected to it as coach, how it does impact people?
Well, I'm not older now than what I was lucky enough to do it as a player, but I'm carrying this around representing the footy club and seeing the smiles. Even people that don't barrack for Collingwood, they smile. Can I get a photo? Because it's a visual, isn't it? Like, it's such a powerful image of success. And I said last night on TV that this represents the whole footy club and the fans. Yeah, the fans that we wanted to bring along for the journey.
And the thing about you, and you speak about it, and you live by the ethos that you're promoting. If we just get back to the actual game, because when I'm watching now, because we've got to know you.
Can I just ask?
Yes.
My live approach to it, I thought it was one of the best games I've ever been
involved
awesome,
with.
Mate. And I've watched it back replay.
Yes.
Your thoughts?
Oh, awesome game of football.
Mate, unbelievable. And I think it's, the story's now about is it the greatest ever for some, and certainly in Collingwood's history, where does it rank? But because we've got to know you, I'm trying to think of, what are you thinking right now? What's he going to do? And we get this image about you being calm and like you say. But when Charlie kicked that goal and you go down, and then there's the infringement, the 666, and everyone's thinking, and BT on the commentary goes, you know what? I think this might be a strategic move. And I thought, surely he's not that much of a genius. Surely he's not hasn't thought, well, I'm going to cause this minor infraction so we get a ball up. What were you thinking? And was that part of a strategy? Is that part of what you taught the boys in these circumstances? You train for everything to have a 666 infraction to slow things down.
No, not quite. We had talked about it though.
Right.
We had talked about it because Mason can get up over the top of it, but we didn't execute it for that moment. But there was a story where as soon as that goal's kicked, we just knew what we had to do. I said, right away, get that sign up, let's go.
Yeah.
And we know the mode of transport we have to go into that time, and so that straight away everyone, and Pendles was unbelievable.
Phenomenal.
And he goes, Nick normally goes to a different role in that phase, and he goes, I'll go out, and Pendle goes, is Geordie, Nick, and him, and he goes, no, you want to be part of this? He goes, of course I do. Well, let's go get it. and like those little things will carry in time, that storytelling part of it. And then we just went to work. We had the answers when we needed them. And this whole final series, we had that ability to do that. And maybe that's through good habits that have been created many times before. So
you're talking to Gazy about the game, and the first half was high pressure, ballistic exhibition football. Like, it was a joke how good it was. The goals are getting kicked, the skill level under that sort of pressure on a hot day with a bit of blustery stuff out there. And then it changed gears in the second half. It became, goals were hard to find. And was that you guys and Chris and his team changing things?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It felt like there was a real wrestle on for getting their game style going, because, Brisbane a dominant, clearance dominant territory team that tried to lock you in their forward half, and they couldn't get that going in the first half, but there was really high scoring. So they had limited entries, but they were scoring high from their entries. And then I could see a shift straight away in the way they wanted to move the ball. Their plan B is to control the tempo of the game. And so they went straight into that, and they were looking for uncontested marks, which then caused it to be a bit more uncontested than contest and stoppage. Somewhat. So I could see the wrestle for that, and we wanted to keep the game live because we learned the 2 weeks prior that we've got to move the ball more boys. We've got to play on a bit more here and take a few more risks there. And we trained that all week, and our coaches, Lepper and Bolts and Scoot and Skipper, these guys have really trained the detail of how we're going to move the ball faster and, Bobby Hill gets in the game because we move it on angles.
Of course, yeah.
So that was our intention, but there was a real arm wrestle in the second half to get your game style going.
Was there a bit of fatigue? Did the play, because it was hot and it was hot.
Yeah.
Was there? Did you notice from the players that they just backed off their energy levels a bit after half time or not?
Potentially, but the game did change, didn't it?
It did,
so I'm not sure whether that was a part of that. And I kept saying, boys, the game's going to open up, and the way we want to play, it'll suit us. So just keep going to the method that we've practiced. Again, that was so many moments.
Do you have a favourite? I had it written down. Was there one favourite moment that you've got?
Yeah, there's a couple. I think that centre bounce goal when we're behind and we score within 20 seconds.
The goalie kick's going to be one of the most underrated kicks.
Yeah. What about Nick's handball?
Amazing, because we're all going to look at the handball and we're going to forget that the goalie still had to kick it from 50.
Yeah, running away from the goal, across his body.
Yeah.
So that was a highlight. And then I think Steele's goal was pretty special. But then, how many do you want to talk about?
What about the Maynard kick to Howe? Was it where he went into the 45? It was the kick.
Yeah.
It was like a beautifully thrown Patrick Maher. It was like he couldn't have dropped it in a bucket any better. Howe didn't have to change stride. It was the execution of that kick under enormous pressure.
And I showed it at half time because that's the team we wanted to be, and that's the team us at our best. I think we're a very dangerous defensive transition team when we're prepared to change angles and take risks.
And Steele's that Steele side bottom. I heard Bucks talking about, and he was up in the stands. Mate, he ain't got the leg. He's not getting this. And I always talk about, when I think of my own experience when I'm doing public speaking, about how great things happen in an atmosphere of greatness. And this, for him, was arguably the greatest atmosphere you could ever experience. And in that atmosphere, people do extraordinary things. When you're watching that, was that extraordinary? Was this something you've never... Did you think that he had the capacity to do what he did?
I flat out probably no. But there was a slight breeze going that way, and the ball was carrying. You look at Crispy's goals that end, and that end was... Yeah, the ball was carrying a bit down that end, but he just flushed it, didn't he?
Yeah.
He absolutely flushed it. And we were on the bench talking about, do you think he should go to this, kick it to a certain area of the ground? And I said, I'm not sure. It might be just touch and go here. And he's flushed it. And I thought that moment, that was our game. That 10-point margin with 4 to go, I thought, we can hold on to this. Typical our style, though. We took it to the last 30 seconds.
Why is Jack Chris such a good player?
He's an elite runner. And when finals come around, like last year's final series, he was unbelievable. Now, I didn't see much of the Sydney prelim last year. I didn't put myself through that.
Okay.
But I saw moments of it, and he was incredible in that game too, particularly when we needed to come back. And his, I saw last night the stats around his final record are up there as the best in the game. And he's an elite runner and power runner. And when Murph went down, we had to move someone back. He was a bit of a tool for us, back, forward, mid, whatever we needed. Yeah,
and were you dropping a few? Did you play your wingers a bit deeper? Did you play Pendlebury a bit deep? Were you conscious of that? Was there a bit of, boys, just for the time being, or was it maybe even earlier than Murphy's? Was that a bit of a strategy that you had in play?
Well, we were determined to make sure Brisbane didn't have even numbers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So we were trying to manipulate as much as we could.
Okay. And so if
you watch behind the goals, we did it in many different ways, and we're constantly trying to ask questions around that.
Yeah.
Well,
that's a lot, isn't it? We are going to play Brisbane again.
Yeah, no, that's right. It'll be different then.
Yeah.
It'll be next time around. It'll be different. You'll be doing something else. Maybe.
But
you have to now. You just told them what you're doing.
but all the X's and O's in the world...
They would know that.
Of course they would.
If they watch, they could see what we're trying to do.
Yeah, of course they would.
All the X's and O's in the world, you still got to have the talent and the performance to put forward. And Scott Pendlebury, we've spoken about it yesterday and today. I was in awe of the man in that last quarter for where he's gone, and it was kind of Nathan Cleary-like in what he did in the NRL, where he just said, rightio, I've been here before. I know what I've got to do. And he went to another level. Did you have to three-quarter time? Did you say, or is that just happened?
It's just him being him. But at training, it only happened 2 weeks ago. We're doing match play, and the last scenario plays that we do. Bo McCreary, that they were in the save the game mode.
Right.
Bo's taken a mark 45 metres out at training. And I said, boys, 30 seconds to go. And he's taken a mark. Oh, sorry, it might have been 45 seconds to go. He's taken a mark and he gets back off the mark. And then he doesn't know what to do. This is at training. And then we played it out. And I said, Pendles, Howie, come here. And Bo, if this happens again and again, there's like 50 metres out, take your 30 seconds. This is what they were saying as well. Take your 30 seconds and then kick sideways. Did you remember the play when Crispy got it?
I do.
And I'm watching it going, oh, man, we only learned that 2 weeks ago.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, and so he took his 30 seconds and then kicks it. And then Howie's the guy that gets it.
Yeah.
And we just killed another 45 seconds a minute.
Yeah.
We didn't have to play that 45 seconds in the last 90 seconds when we were just hanging on for the game.
The essence of time, Craig.
The time. And again, we kept learning lessons throughout the last couple of years. This group made me appreciate time more than anything else.
We got to get to a break, 20 past 4. Again, say no if you don't want to, but steps, can you tell us a bit about the steps?
Yeah, I'll do
Beautiful.
that.
We'll do that with you on the other side of the break. The Collingwood Premiership coach, Craig McRae, our very special guest. Craig McRae has been a special guest of ours for the last couple of years, and we've learnt a lot about footy and thankfully a lot about the man on the way through, and it's a joy to have him in here the Tuesday afternoon after the glorious Saturday that he lived as a husband and a father and the coach of the Collingwood Footy Club. You've been talking about steps and you said this is your thing at the start of the year. And what can you tell us about what it was?
You heard about the MCG story, so that was the basis of starting the journey of it, but taking the steps as opposed to the elevator, escalators, whatever it is at the airports, all those little things. And but we developed a ladder which was made by Shannon. Thanks, Shannon, for all that hard work and carpentry. He made a ladder and
a timber ladder.
Timber ladder. And the ladder represented we need to take the steps to qualify. So the first step was to get to 14 wins was what we thought we'd qualify historically, mate. And then after every win, we would spray paint a rung, and we've taken one step.
Right.
So then, obviously, after wins, and I think we were 14-1 or something close to that.
You got there quickly.
Yeah, and I'm going, we ran out of rungs. So we qualified the finals so quickly. I'm going, that wasn't in the plan. So what do we do? So all right, we'll build another ladder. And the other ladder had another eight rungs. So I think at one stage we might have been 16-2 or something. And then we went on a little bit of a dry spell and not winning games because we didn't have the ladder. I'm going, we probably lost our way of what we were going to some degree, amongst other not defending well and injuries and the like. So we started painting this second ladder. And we got to the point where in the finals we built this, I don't know, like a pyramid type thing, and it had different rungs in it, and then you knock them out as opposed to painting them, and then the cup was ready to go on top of it if we get to and it was one at a time, and then you win 3, you're the premiers, and so then the last game just on the weekend we knocked the last one out. Bobby Hill knocked it out, and then we put the cup on top of it, and it represented that we took enough steps to get the job done.
So Bobby physically removed the last bit for the...
There'll be footage of it because I'm not sure if I'm letting too much out here, but the club's filmed everything.
Wow.
Everything. And I've been mic'd up for weeks. And so I don't know where this is going to go and what's happening with all this footage, but to the point where they even filmed me going home with my family after the prelim final in the car, and coming in and... had a cork for the red wine replay and cheers the Magpie fans. I don't know what's going to come out of all this, where it goes, but it's going to be pretty spectacular.
Well, we know the ending, and the ending will motivate a lot of Pies fans to certainly want to watch it. I'm motivated. I love to watch it. Yeah, I love to see that behind the scenes stuff, to see how you actually get there, because you see what goes on the field. But we all know that the process can be. Yeah. I don't think a lot of people would actually appreciate or have any sort of understanding of what goes into it. And I feel privileged right now because Craig's just shared the video that he showed the players to us during the ad break. It's 4 minutes of highlights. And firstly, if you ever get the arse from coaching, Channel 7, Channel 9, you've got one of the greatest editors ever in the business right here, because the music that you put to it, and I'm trying to figure out, well, I wonder what messages accompany this, but in a lot of it, it's... Yeah, you've got the flashy stuff and the spectacular stuff, but it's a lot of it's the tackling, it's the physicality of it all, and clearly I assume that's by design.
Yeah, it is. And I was like my little 1-year-old going to school and and doing a painting and wanted to show you. I was so excited to show you.
I love it. I love it.
But it represents our DNA. and then represents players playing in their strengths. You know, you could say, "Oh, Gazy, go play to your strengths." You know, like shoot lots of threes, whatever. But then I show you shooting lots of threes, then you get the affirmation through the vision as well, because we're all wired differently, and I'm a visual learner, so you can see where I'm trying to paint a picture through vision. But yeah, it represents our DNA, and we always finish the last thing before we run, or before they go prepare individually. They see all the team acts, or them being the best version of them.
One of the things I loved about it, not to give too much away, but was the number of tackles where it wasn't one Collingwood bloke tackling. He might have got the first purchase, but it took no time at all for a second bloke to be in there, and sometimes the third bloke.
Yep.
There was a lot of that going on.
Yeah, well, that's again our best version of us is when we put an enormous pressure on the opposition, and whether it's 1, 2, or 3 tackles, we can put a lot of pressure on.
Hey, one of the things like you over the last couple of years and the time we spent together, it seems you're very open with what you. To us, it seems like you.
My wife calls me an oversharer, and I did that on the weekend. Clearly.
Well, I was going to say, how do you is it a fine line with what some of the stuff that you share that with your own IP, or whether it's with the players? Are they comfortable? Well, clearly they are.
Well, it gets to a point where it doesn't really matter. And Lee used to say, I'm sure there's certain things that you just don't want out. Like there isn't. But if I'm going to say we're going to take our fans on a journey with us. You got to be transparent to some degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, like me sharing that we were trying to do that to Brisbane, I'm questioning myself, is that the right decision? I'm not sure. I'll drive home and think, I don't know if I should have done that. But at the end of the day, Lee used to say, I keep quoting him a lot, but we can give the opposition our game plan. We just got to do it better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and whether us taking the steps is giving too much weight, no, well, I want to take the fans on the journey with us. We went into this army theme, battle theme for the finals, and we made our meeting room like a bunker.
Yeah.
It was all decked out in camos and stuff, and because the Collingwood Army, we thought was one of our greatest competitive advantages.
Yeah.
And they've proven it all year how powerful they can be, and again they dragged us over the line on the weekend.
When you're talking about the first ladder and then you hit that little kind of wall for whatever reason, were you ever worried? Did you worry about? Geez, can we get it back? Can I fix this? Can we fix this? Have we gone too early?
There was a real shift. That the Hawthorn game was almost a landmark moment for our group, because it showed that when we play without spirit, that's a big part of it, what we are. And we show, for the 2 years, I reckon most Collingwood supporters would go to the footy game going, geez, they gave a good effort.
Yeah.
They played with good spirit. I wouldn't have thought there's too many games they would have questioned that. But that Hawthorn game, I thought you could question it. And I showed footage really clearly of it. I said, boys, look, there's no one on the goal line. We're having a set shot. They mark it on the goal line. What are we doing? Like the energy or effort for others wasn't there for some reason. I'm not sure. We were training pretty hard, but I don't want to discredit Hawthorn because they were amazing that day. But there's certain elements of the things we have to be, and spirit and that stuff is one of those. So I was worried that whether that would come back quickly, and at training it came back really quickly.
Right, you felt it.
And I go, that spirit's back. So then if we've got effort back, then it's just about how we play your role and do your system. So I wasn't sleeping well, but I was reasonably confident that we could turn things around.
We always try and keep you for 5 more. Can we do that?
Yeah, I'm paying for parking.
I can't find more.
Paying for parking.
Sorry, I tell you what. If you get a ticket, bring it in, and Gazy will pay for it.
Hartshield to take it, surely.
Actually, while they're on to my wife was parked in the loading zone. She's 40 weeks pregnant to duck out to get it.
No chance.
$190.
No!
Yeah.
What council?
Oh, Williamstown, whatever that one is.
No, that's no good. You got to be better than that. Hobson's Bay, isn't it? Hobson's Bay?
Is it? Yeah.
Hobson's Bay down there. Come on, you lot, rescind that.
Oh, well, look, I don't want to. I'm not a lawbreaker.
No. News, and then a couple more before we let you go on the other side of this. I want you to get a parking ticket. So just a couple of quick rapid-fire ones, and you can go as long as or not, in no particular order. Have you thought about the Peter and Darcy Moore moment that they got to share?
Yeah, I have. I saw it a couple of times, and I can't imagine that feeling that they've got now forever.
What a gift!
Yeah, it's there was a lot of things that just aligned for us, didn't they? Like that sort of stuff. And
well, the Dacos stuff was already that was a big thing, right?
Yeah.
That was huge.
Yeah.
But then for Peter to get the gig and then to be there on that day.
Yeah, no, I think that'll be a memory that they'll have forever in the bond, and clearly they've got one strong one already. But that's a special moment for the Collingwood Football Club.
Yeah. And when you arrived, early on in the days, you said that you went into your office and you put all the the paintings of the
Premiership coaches.
Do you put yourself up there now?
Just put a mirror.
I've said if I go away on holidays and come back and there's me in my puffer jacket, I might move office.
No, you got to stick with it.
I couldn't believe that I'm only the 6th Premiership coach since 1892. That's quite remarkable.
That is quite something, isn't it?
Yeah, the club's got an unbelievable history. Look, I'm not that self-indulgent, but I know the person that'll put it up though. Shannon will be all over it.
There's very few. There's hardly a negative to be taken, and I'm not even.
I really want to make sure that we've talked all Collingwood.
Oh no,
and Brisbane. Yep. You watch that game back, and even if you just watch the highlights, Brisbane was so.
They're awesome.
Yeah, and funny enough, I thought the GWS team the week before were just as good.
Awesome
this is a tight competition. Like, we won a lot of close games. They're small margins. This competition this year is as close as it's ever been.
So did Jack Ginnivan get the fact that maybe the races on the Friday night wasn't necessarily the best idea? I don't have a massive, for what it's worth, but if I was his mate and he said, "Hey, should I go?" I would have said, "Mate, don't go. You're asking for trouble. Like, just don't even go there." Like, does he need to?
Oh, look at that. We just need to keep educating, don't we?
Yep.
Yeah, like that, and just I'm really determined for us to be really humble. And we can't control everything, and we've got to learn lessons. I want us to be a really humble group. We don't have to prove anything to anyone. We want to be respectful for the opposition. We want to be respectful for the competition, and then when we win, be winners. What does a winner look like? I don't know if a winner goes to the races the night before. I'm not sure. But we're all different. And I want to say, well, if that makes you be the best player you can be, go to the races. So I don't want to be an old school coach around that. But again. Let's put it in the winner's basket. If you did a straw poll, is that being a winner? I'm not sure if 50% would vote.
I think the straw poll would
survive the pub test.
I don't think it matters, like you say, because some people it's different because everyone's different and what makes them tick. But the eye test, it didn't look good. To me, it didn't look good. But hey, that's like you say, you want to. Whatever it is, the individual, they sent Dennis Rodman off to Vegas during an NBA championship series so he can hang out in the strip clubs.
No, I get it. And maybe I'm right on the line with it because I can see how you'd say, what are you doing, mate? And then there's a bit of like, well, are you setting yourself up to be the best version for tomorrow? If you think that is, whatever it looks like.
What about how long do you get to enjoy this before you've got to switch into 2024?
Tomorrow morning about 7 o'clock. I got to go in. We've got some decisions to make around our list. We got to finalise the list by I think it's Friday, or make decisions around who's coming with us. And so tough decisions need to be made in the next 24 hours, 48 hours.
So the exit interviews,
all that's coming really quickly. And so. That's why I've cut the cut for a couple of days because it doesn't. The players will celebrate for a while, but then because we want deep wins. If you cannot sit in it now,
what are you doing it for?
Exactly, you got to sit in this, and we've got the best and fairest Friday night, and then we'll go separate ways on leave and stuff. But this competition is already getting better. There's already people training.
But that's got to be hard for you after you've had this almighty high, and then you got look someone in the eye and say. You know what? Your journey's come to an end here.
Yeah. Well, again, we'll have a deep win, and so we should. But we're going to make sure at the right time there's a refocus, and I'm not sure where that sits right now. But there has to be a refocus.
And there's a lot of conversation, as there is seemingly every year, about whether players should everyone that's played a game should get some level of recognition. I think Bucks made a good point this morning, said, well, that's on the club. I think there's probably it's a little bit more meaningful if the league made it a little more of a mandatory thing about what they're entitled to. But how does the club recognise people like McStay that Noble and what they've done?
Yeah, and I think I said last night, I was just repeating myself, I'm open-minded to this. I could see where you could benefit from this or get rewarded for this. But if you didn't play, I wonder how you value that, and that's maybe that's up to the individual to decide that. But this cup is representative of everyone and staff. That's the medal stuff. I think the coaches should get medals, or the club. Richmond did it really well. They gave everyone rings, a premiership ring to represent that you're part of that journey or that campaign. So I'm sure we'll do some form of recognition for everyone.
Do you know? Do you already, without telling us, do you know how you get better as a footy team?
We've got to keep improving our list. So that represents itself on Friday when free agency starts and look for opportunities. We're trying to be active. Yeah. We'll see what comes of that.
What about strategically? Have you even, maybe a month ago you think, geez, I wish we were doing that, but we don't have the time to do it right now. Have you already thought about how you're going to...
I had a couple of ideas about a month ago around certain parts of positioning and you saw a little bit on grand final day. I thought, let's have a go at this. And so there's little bits of that we liked. Got to refine a little bit. And I've got a couple of other ideas, but I wasn't prepared to do it without enough training. So that strategy wasn't not major, just a couple of little things. But I'd like to maybe a month just to let this one go, and then early next month I'm going to take a couple of days to find the next step.
When do you reckon you'll get a good night's sleep?
Hoping tonight.
From the bottom of our hearts, you didn't have to do this with us last year. At the end of last year, when your trajectory and the footy teams was heading north, I'm sure you could have gone other places to do this. You have your media stuff, and for him and me and Jules and A-Rod, it's been an unbelievable privilege for us to be sharing the journey with you.
Well,
so
thanks. There's a little bit of. Like going back and listening to myself on day one, how much you've helped me grow, and I'm a work in progress, and this has presented me an opportunity. I never had great joy in being in front of the media and things like that, but you've definitely helped me improve my media skills.
Well. And you do it so well.
So I'm grateful for you guys too, and Jules and the gang. So fitting to bring the cup back to you guys.
And Andy, also the Temper Text family out here. I mean, you would. You'd be sick at the love that you're getting off this
disgusting.
machine. It is outrageous.
It is disgusting.
But I think it's important that and just from them, just to, there's too many. These things are coming in. But the appreciation from even non-Collingwood fans, and that's something that I think's been spoken about a lot, but you have taken even non-Collingwood fans on a journey, which they respect. They may not barrack for you, and they may not clapping for you, but they certainly want to acknowledge how much joy you've brought them as well.
So
well done.
That means a lot because, like I said, I'm not going to be the coach forever. So,
that's right.
Congratulations, mate.
Thanks, guys.
Good on you.
You'll be the editor forever, though.
Craig McRae, Collingwood Premiership coach, Maggie's dad, the greatest weekend a man could wish to have.